Hello friends, today we will start with English Fairy. This is class 7 and here we are going to do first chapter after 20 years. We will read the chapter and then we will move on to question and answers. So first of all we will read the policeman on the beat moved up the avenue impressively. The impressiveness was habitual and not for show, for spectators were few. The time was barely 10 o'clock at night, but chilly gusts of wind with a taste of rain in them had nearly de-peopled the streets. This means that no people were there since this was a rainy season. The wind had started and there was a taste of rain in them, so it had cleared the streets. There were no people or very few people were there. Trying doors as he went, the officer with his stalwart form and slight swagger made a fine picture of the guardian of peace. What is stalwart? It's strongly built and swagger to walk confidently. This shows the policeman, the patrol policeman was strongly built and he was walking very confidently. Okay, when about midway of certain block, the policeman suddenly slowed his walk. In the doorway of the darkened hardware store, a man leaned with an unlighted cigar in his mouth. As the policeman walked up to him, the man spoke up quickly. "It's all right, officer," he said assuringly. The man was, he wanted to assure him, the policeman, so he wanted to assure confidence in him, so he spoke quickly. "I am just waiting for a friend. It's an appointment made 20 years ago. Sounds a little funny to you, doesn't it? Well, I explain if you would like to make certain it's all straight. About that long ago there used to be a restaurant where this store stands, Big Joe Brady's restaurant." Now we are going to turn the page. "Until 5 years ago," said the policeman, "it was torn down then." Now here the policeman made the remark that he was talking about the store or the restaurant he was talking about. Now it's no more. The man in the doorway struck a match and lit his cigar. The light showed a pale square-jawed face with keen eyes and a little white scar near his right eyebrow. His scarf pin was a large diamond oddly set. 20 years ago tonight," said the man, "I dined here at Big Joe Brady's with Jimmy Wells, my best chum. Best friend and the finest chap in the world. He and I were raised here in New York, just like two brothers together. I was 18 and Jimmy was 20. The next morning I was to start for the West to make my fortune. You couldn't have dragged Jimmy out of New York. He thought it was the only place on earth. Well, we agreed that night we would meet here. Exactly after 20 years from the date and time, no matter what our conditions might be or from what distance we might have to come." Now here, this person is keen to tell the policeman that he has been waiting at this place because he had made an appointment to his friend 20 years ago. Though this is going to sound very funny, but this is quite true, that they have promised to meet at the same place, date and time, that after 20 years, and that's why he is waiting for him. "It sounds pretty interesting," said the policeman. "Haven't you heard from your friend since you left?" Now he is asking, still you are in contact or in touch with your friend or not? "Well, yes, for a time we corresponded," said the other, "but after a year or two we lost track of each other. You see, the West is a pretty big proposition. It means it's a very big affair, so we lost the track. We cannot contact, we do not remain in touch with each other. And I kept hustling around over it pretty lively. But I know Jimmy will meet me here if he is alive, for he's always the truest, staunchest old chap in the world. Now he wants to say that his friend is really true and what promise he made he would abide by it." He'll never forget. I came 1,000 miles to stand in his door tonight, and it's worth it if my old partner turns up. Now the waiting man pulled out the handsome watch, lids of it set with small diamonds. 3 minutes to 10, he announced. It was exactly when he parted here at the restaurant door. Did pretty well out west, didn't you? Asked the policeman. You bet. I hope Jimmy has done half as well. Now here the policeman asked that you did really well in the west. You bet I hope Jimmy has done half as well. He was kind of a plodder, though good fellow as he was. I have had to compete with some of the sharpest wits going to get my pile. A man gets in a groove in New York. It takes the West to put a razor edge on him. Here these words are being spoken by the man, that is Bob here, and he is trying to denote that he has done a very hard work, and it really he has applied his wits to earn and amassing so much wealth. And now when he has settled and he has been in a good fortune, now he has come after 20 years to meet his friend. The policeman twirled his club and took a step or two. I'll be on my way. Hope your friend comes around all right. Going to call time on him sharp. Now here the policeman is going away, and he even tells this man that your friend is going to come on sharp. But he replied that I should say not. Said the other. I'll give him half an hour at least, that he's going to wait for him half an hour at least more. If Jimmy is alive on the earth, he'll be here by that time. So long, officer. Good night, sir. Now here the policeman is going to go again. And now after 20 minutes the man waited, and then a tall man in a long overcoat with a collar turned up to his ears hurried across from the opposite side of the street. He went directly to this waiting man. Is that you, Bob? He asked doubtfully. Now here they have been describing another tall man. He has come hurriedly towards Bob, and he's been asking that doubtfully, is he that you, Bob? Is that you, Jimmy Wells? Cried the man in the door. Because they have met 20 years before, so they are not been in touch with each other, so they have been acquainted with each other, that they are the same people that has met before. Bless my heart, exclaimed the new arrival, grasping both other hands with his own. It's Bob, sure as fate. I was certain I would find you if you still in existence. Well, well, well. 20 years is a long time. The old and gone, Bob. I wish it had lasted, so we could have another dinner there. How has the West treated you, old man? Now they have met after 20 years, so have turned old. So now they have been asking how are they. Both the friends are asking about each other, how are they, and how are they in their lives. Bully, it has given me everything I asked it for. You have changed lots, Jimmy. I have never thought you were so tall by 2 or 3 inches. Now here Bob is telling Jimmy that he has changed a lot, and he has even turned tall. Oh, I grew a bit after I was 20. Doing well in New York, Jimmy. Moderately, I have a position in one of the city departments. Come on, Bob, we'll go around to a place I know of and have a good talk about old times. Now at this place they have been talking about each other's jobs, how they are settled in their lives, how much things they have amassed. Okay, so now they have been walking, started up the street arm in arm. The man from the west, his egotism enlarged by success, beginning to outline the history of his career. The other submerged in his overcoat, listening with interest. Now here one man who has amassed so much of wealth, he's been snobbish, he's been in his egoism, he is outshining the other one, that he has done really pretty well than other one, and the other one is submerged in his overcoat. This shows that he is accepting that he has done less in his life than the former one. At the corner stood a drugstore, brilliant with electric lights. When they came into the glare of each of them, this shows that in an electric stores with brilliant light, in a drugstore, there was brilliant electric lights. And when they see each other, the man from the west stopped suddenly and realized his arm and released his arm. Now he want to free from the arm of the Jimmy Wells. Okay, you are not Jimmy Wells, he snapped. इधर उसने एकदम अपना हाथ झटक लिया. Okay, he snapped. You are not Jimmy Wells. 20 years is a long time, but not long enough to change a man's nose from a Roman to a pug. Now, he has acquainted with Jimmy Wells and a very proper acquaintance with his friend. So when he saw the face, he quickly knew that though they were 20 years is a long time, but not long enough that it has changed the facial features. Though he may have a long height, but facial features are going to remain the same. So now we move further. It sometimes change a good man to a bad one, said the tall man. You have been under arrest for 10 minutes, Silky Bob. Chicago thinks that you may have dropped over our way and wires us she wants to have a chat with you. Going quietly, are you? That's sensible. Now, before we go on to the station, here's a note I was asked to hand you. You may read it here at the window. It's from Patrolman Wells. Now, the man from the west unfolded a little piece of paper, handed to him. His hand was steady when he began to read, but it trembled a little by the time he had finished. The note was rather short. Bob, I was at the appointed place on time when you struck the match to light your cigar. I saw it was the face of a man wanted in Chicago. Somehow I couldn't do it myself, so I went around and got a plainclothesman to do the job. Now from here we know that Jimmy Wells is a patrolsman, and this man from the west, though he is a very wealthy man, but he has amassed all this wealth through wrong means, and he has been identified as a culprit or as a gangster or any kind of person who has been wanted list of the policemen, and Chicago wanted him, and he has to arrest him, but out of friendship he cannot arrest him, and so he asked the other policeman to do the job. So his hands were trembled. The Bob's hands were trembled. उसके हाथ इसलिए कपकपाने लगे because he came to know the truth that his friend has been a policeman and he had become a smuggler or may any person in the wanted list of the policemen. Okay, he has become such a person. Now with this we have completed the story, and we are going to come on question and answers. First of all, what time does the story begin? See, it's on page number 2. The time was barely 10 o'clock at night, but chilly gust of wind with the taste of rain in them had nearly de-peopled the streets. Now the second, where was the man from the west leaning? He was leaning on the doorway of the hardware store. Okay. When was Big Joe Brady's restaurant pulled down? It was pulled down 5 years ago. Now where was Jimmy and Bob raised? Both of them are raised in New York. Now B, answer these questions in 30 to 40 words. Describe the policeman on the beat. The policeman on the beat moved up the avenue impressively, was habitual, not show for spectators, very few. He was with a stalwart form, that he was strongly built, and he was walking very confidently, made a fine picture of a guardian of peace. Okay. Now we are going to come to another second question. Why did the man speak up quickly when the policeman approached him? So as to restore his confidence. When he approached him, because policeman has come to him at the night, no? So he wanted to assure him that he is not standing here out of any fear or any kind of for wrong means, but he has been standing here because he wanted to meet his friend for the right thing. Okay, describe the watch that Silky Bob was wearing. What does it tells about him? See, what does it tells about him? It tells about him, the waiting man pull out the handsome watch, the lids of it set with small diamonds. This shows that he has amassed a lot of wealth in the West, and he has really become a very rich person. Now, answer these questions in 80 to 100 words. Why do you think Jimmy Wells continued to talk to Silky Bob? First of all, to restore confidence that he is believing whatever he was saying. Second, he has to catch Bob, for his job made to do that. And third, he has to catch him. Okay? Now, how do you think Silky Bob would have felt when he realized that he had spoken to Patrolman Wells without realizing it? First of all, Silky Bob would have shocked, because see here in the last page we will study that his hands were trembling when he was reading that note. So he would have felt shocked when he realized that he had spoken to Patrolman Wells without realizing it. Secondly, he may have also think that he was pretty well in his job and settled like him, and he is a good man. He is still his old friend who finds it hard to arrest him. So he was a true staunch friend as he was before. Now read these sentences. I am just waiting for a friend. It's an appointment made 20 years ago. Sounds a little funny to you, doesn't it? Who said this and to whom? Bob said this to policeman. Why would it sound funny to the listener? Because appointment was made 20 years ago. What happened 20 years ago? 20 years ago, see here it has been written that 20 years ago what has been done. It's on page 2 and it's second para. I dined here at Big Joe's Brady with Jimmy Wells, my best chum. He and I were raised here in New York, okay? And the next morning I was to start for the West to make my fortune. You couldn't have dragged Jimmy out of the New York. He thought it was the only place on earth. Well, we agreed that night that we would meet here again exactly 20 years from that date and time, no matter what our conditions might be or from what distance we might have to come. So with this, now we have the last question. It takes the West to put a razor edge on him. Who said these words and to whom? See, these words were spoken by Bob to policeman. Who does him refer to here? Again with Bob. How do you think Bob has become razor sharp? See, he has become razor sharp because he had amassed a lot of wealth by wrong means. It takes sharpness of mind and toughness of heart to become razor sharp. With this, we have completed with question and answers. In case if there is any problem regarding this first chapter, please comment me in the comment box.